right, Alex, thank you. Happening now, family members of Tyree Sampson are speaking at Icon Park at what would have been the boy's 15th birthday. It's been nearly 5 months since Sampson fell to his death on the Orlando freefall ride. The attorney for his father is giving an update on that investigation. Let's listen in here for a few minutes.
I want to briefly just recognize, not only for Orlando, not only for St. Louis, Missouri, but for all the people across the world, that this young black child life mattered. Tyree Sampson life mattered. Yep. And his 15-year birthday would have been today. And this is so very difficult for his family. But his father said he was going to come here and make sure that he had everybody who came upon Icon Park know that his son's life was taken senselessly because Slingshot and the other defendants put profit over safety. We will give you those updates if you have a brief questions after we hear from the two people who you need to hear from. First is going to be State Representative Geraldine Thompson, and then after that, she's going to make some brief remarks, and then you're going to hear from a father who's bearing his heart today on the birthday of what would have been his son's 15-year anniversary of his life. And so without further ado, I introduce you to my leader, our leader, State Representative Geraldine Thompson.
Good morning. We're here to honor the life and the contributions of Tyree Sampson, the things that he was able to accomplish in 14 years. And in the normal course of life, the ordinary course of life, you don't expect parents to have to bury their children. But this was not the ordinary course. The things that happened here were out of the ordinary. Seats being adjusted after inspection, after a permit, that was out of the ordinary. It was out of the ordinary that the young people who were operating the ride had not been properly trained. That was out of the ordinary. It was out of the ordinary that the signs with regard to height and weight requirements were not posted so that Tyree could make his own decision. That was out of the ordinary. And so I am here to say that we want this family, the father, the mother, all of the relatives of Tyree Sampson to know that I am drafting, and my very first bill as a member of the Florida Senate is going to be the Tyree Sampson law.
Yes, yes.
And that bill will address many of the things that I just talked about that were out of the ordinary. And so for Tyree, this would have been his 15th birthday. He was on the cusp of manhood, and his life was taken during spring break because of the things that happened here that were out of the ordinary. But we're going to correct that with the Tyree Sampson law that's going to be filed on the very first day of the legislative session, and I will be the author of the Tyree Sampson bill. Thank you all for being here.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Yarnell. And now, Mr. Yarnell Sampson, who's going to talk about celebrating his son's birthday at what essentially has become the site of a memorial for his slain son. Mr. Yarnell Sampson.
Yeah, how you doing? Wow. How everybody doing today? My name is Yarnell Sampson from St. Louis, Missouri. I want to say back home to my St. Louisans, also my East Siders. They're here with us as well. Unfortunately, a lot of them couldn't come because of the situation, but they wanted to come. So I wanted to let them know I thank you for their support. Also, Orlando community and also the worldwide. So let's get back to the basics. The basics why I'm here is celebrating my son's birthday. He would have been 15 years old. He was born August 17, 2007. When he was born, he was a star to me. He always will be a star. Since then, I'm gonna give you the updates with my health. Things is getting better mentally, physically. and spiritually. I feel like that I didn't sign up for this. God signed me up for this battle. So this mission is for equality for all black and brown communities, that we could come together as one, first and foremost. Second of all, it should be, his legacy should be a permanent memorial here. It should be not a reminder that this ride's still up 4.5, 5 months later. No memorial out here. I think that we still on the same page. I don't know if they understand that what I'm trying to do here is give a proper respect to the dead. And the dead, he deserved that because he didn't sign up to die. He signed up to ride a ride, to have fun, and it led up to something else. I also want to say my son was a special young man. He was a bright young man, had a bright potentials and a bright future. He was a 4.0 honor student. I'm gonna continue saying that because it was the truth. How would you feel if you send your kid to vacation, they gonna have fun, next year you know they don't come home? You know, that's a phone call no parent wanna get. And unfortunately for myself, I found out through a video, through virally. So that was even more distasteful. But the point I'm trying to say is still a reminder, 4.5, 5 months later, and we still got this still distasteful situation standing right in front of us. It's a reminder.
Take it down.
It needs to come down. It needs a permanent memorial. Why is nothing out here stating this young man had passed away? Another thing I want to say, why was my son sitting 15 minutes unattended by himself? Where's the EMT response team at? Every amusement park supposed to have a response team supposed to be there less than 10 minutes. Why is my son sitting there 15 minutes with strangers unattended? It's a lot of questions to the answers I don't have answers. Questions to the answers I ain't got the answers yet. And I'm looking for the answers. I'm searching. So I'm here now for justice. Justice for Tyre.
Justice for Tyre.
That would never change. That's never gonna change. Because at the end of the day, I was his protector and his provider. I work. If you look at my son's clothing, Onyx Apparels, that's my job. That's my work history. I have a solid work history. I'm on the Riverfront Times Barbecue Man of the Year. I do community activist work. I love my peoples. At the end of the day, I love my son more than I love my peoples. Because that was my only seed. That was my only child. That was my everything. So I'm totally invested in this situation. I'm gonna let you know. So I ain't going nowhere until I get this ride taken down.
Yeah. Take it down.
Take it down.
Take it down.
So we're gonna have somebody sing happy birthday. And
Also, I'm not here to point fingers or judge anybody or say I'm mad. I'm more sad that I'm not celebrating my son's 15th birthday. So we're gonna have a balloon release, we're gonna have a temporary memorial, and we're gonna give this young man his just due respect he deserves.
Amen.
And I wanna say to my son's mother in St. Louis, she's doing her thing, we're gonna support her as well. Because we both lost our child.
Exactly. Okay. So what we're gonna do is sing just the first chorus of Happy Birthday to Tyre, and then we're gonna release the balloons. Everybody get a balloon in their hand. If we can.
I need you to go get the other balloons from across the street.
You have been listening to the attorneys and state representatives and the father of who would have been 15-year-old Tyre Sampson give an update as the state continues investigating after that teen fell to his death at a ride at Icon Park.